I recently started rewatching Mad Men now that it's on HBO, and it was one of my favorite shows when it first came out, although there was a lot of problematic behaviors going on because it was portraying a certain time period. It was just something I really enjoyed. However, watching it now as a single woman, it really hits harder. It hits differently. And part of that is because I didn't know at the time when I was watching Mad Men the first time around that I was in a relationship with my very own Don Draper and that I was the Betty in this relationship. I didn't know it. I didn't know it. I thought, wow, these people are truly crazy, unrealistic, over exaggerated examples of people from a different era, and there's no way I really truly relate to them. And I knew Don did despicable things, but it was sort of like, I mean, Betty was no picnic. That's how I thought. Now, watching it now, after it's been 7 years since my husband walked out on the marriage. We were together for 32 years. We were married for 25 years. And one day he just decided he had enough and he was leaving. He didn't want to discuss it. He just left. And I was left to figure it out on my own. So 6 months later, I went. I was distraught, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. And I went into his phone bill. I'd never spied on my husband. I'd always trusted him because I'm a person of integrity and loyalty and honesty. I don't even understand the concept of lying. And I discovered that yes, when he had gone down to Florida to start a consultation job, he started an affair. And even though I asked him straight to his face whether he was having an affair, oh no, it has nothing to do about anything. And when I'm watching Don Draper now and the way he blatantly lies to his wife over and over and over again, it hits me differently now because I've been in that position. I've been the person who was trusting or naive, let's say, very naive, ignorant in some ways. And I believed him. I believed him. And the way that Don continuously manipulates Betty, gaslights her, infantilizes her, makes her feel crazy. Like, I see it now, and I didn't see it on the first go around. Now I see it. Now, Betty is not a perfect little victim, and neither was I. I had my issues. There's a reason you get involved with somebody who, like a dismissive avoidant, and I would say that Don Draper is the king of dismissive avoidance, and I would say that yes, my husband, ex-husband, was also the king. And from why do women like me and Betty get involved with men like that? Because let's be honest, on the outside they are extremely charming. They can be very successful. They're constantly performing. So if you don't see behind the mask, all you see is somebody who seems like they want to please. They like big gestures. Like, you can live a pretty good life with Don Draper, right? Because it's like, it's fun. Life is fun. As long as you don't question too much, everything's great. But like Betty, I was in therapy for most of our marriage. And I kept going back to childhood. Like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I be happy? Why can't I accept the things that are going on? I have my children. I have this life that's being presented to me. Why can't I be happy? And what's wrong with me? Because I was in a marriage in which I was almost always made to feel unstable, as if I wasn't enough, as if it was imperfect. And the reason was because when you're in a relationship with a dismissive avoidant, like a Don Draper, they suppress all of their emotions or most of their emotions. And they need to be in relationships with people because they need somebody. I don't know that they need people to take care of them or they need people to validate them, but they don't know how to sustain emotional intimacy. So every time if you're in a relationship with them, like, the longer the relationship goes on, it's like, hey, I'm longing to get closer. Like, we've been married for 10, 15, 20 years. I would like to have a little bit more emotional intimacy. And when you ask for that, the dismissive avoidant pushes, runs, evades, freaks out. And if they're not bolting, and trust me, almost every time I asked my husband for something, he would bolt, he would flee. He could never sit in the discomfort of my needs or my emotions. He would say, you're too much, you're too sensitive, you're never happy. All of those things that we see Don Draper saying to Betty. So it made me feel unstable. It made me feel like too much. And this goes back to my childhood, the way I was raised, a Catholic family, when women are not supposed to ask for anything. So I was also groomed to be in a relationship with somebody like Don Draper. to be in a relationship with a dismissive avoidant because I'm very empathic. I'm very empathetic. I am here to please. I have a lot of emotions, a lot of an emotional intensity, and I want to save people, I guess. And I see the best in them, but that can get you really entwined. So, yes, I now watch the Mad Men and I see I really hate Don. Like, I know the first time around I was like, oh, he does despicable things, but there were good things that offset it. This time around, I absolutely hate him. Like, what he does to Betty, I hate him. I mean, I see the complexity of her character more clearly now, and how she's trying to raise kids with this man who's a ghost, who wears a mask, who's not there, and is constantly eating away at her. And she doesn't have the tools either. Like, she was raised in an era where she's just supposed to be pretty and smile and, all those things, and be dominated by a man. So she doesn't really have the tools of her own self agency. But at the same time, when she does go to therapy because she understands there's issues. She understands something psychologically wrong with her. And she does ask Don, tell me the truth, tell me the truth, tell me the truth. She is told that he's cheating on her, and he denies it to her face. You're crazy. There's nothing going on. He's lying. What are you being so naive and stupid? And in those moments, when those words are coming out of Don Draper's mouth, I mean, I'm spiraling. It hits me hard. The trauma of my own relationship and the downfall of my marriage, it hits me hard. Not only because the way my marriage unraveled at the end and he just walked out after betraying me in the most horrific way, is that it revealed to me the truth of my marriage, that all along I had been married to Don Draper, a dismissive avoidant who was only happy if I was obedient, compliant, not asking for anything, not speaking about my needs, wants, or desires, not expressing any emotion. He would be like, what's your problem? We have a nice house. We go on nice vacations. I give you everything you want. But the thing I wanted was emotions, integrity, honesty, loyalty, partnership. I wanted to know him. I wanted to know the truth. And he put this wall up. And that is why now when I watch Don Draper, I'm like, if you don't know what a dismissive avoidant looks like, or what a dismissive avoidant marriage looks like, and again, I was the insecure and anxious, insecure in that relationship as Betty is, this is what this marriage looks like. And I watched this while I was in that marriage, and I did not recognize myself. It was only after the mask came off and he showed me who he was that I saw who I was, and I saw who I was made to be in that marriage. And I saw how the people, the Don Drapers of the world, they can control everybody like puppets. But when the mask starts to fall and when the pushback starts to come from the insecure, anxious wife, then it crumbles. The moment, like Betty, when I started to demand more from him emotionally, on an intimate level, he went because he found somebody who could fulfill his needs and wasn't going to ask questions, wasn't going to push more, didn't want to see the true him. And I guess there's a lot of women who are willing to put up with that, just as I was for 32 years. Now, again, I had a lot invested in this marriage. I had 2 children. We had done everything together. I was not, like Betty, did not really want to give that up. But now I see that it was never a healthy marriage for me, and I would never go back into something like that because I'm like Betty, I'm not dead at the end of this. I've survived, and I'm not willing to accept any more Don Drapers in my life.